Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Katrina Raspel and Friends. And I'm here with round two of my interviews with my friend, Gina. Kat is a hereditary witch, also an author, a freelance writer, and an herbalist. And for a long time, did our article, Herbalism for Your Day, on the Green Egg blog. So I'm trying to encourage her to perhaps think about doing that again.
We're a little closer to that than we were
We've
yesterday.
made great strides. So I will link Kat's previous interview in the description so that you can go back and get a little bit more of a foundation of who she is and what she's about and who she is to me. But we're going to go ahead and just really dive in on this. Kat, how the hell are you? What's going on with you? Anything interesting?
Um, I reunited with my ex. It's been a 25-year relationship. I'm healing from my grief of losing my husband and healing myself. We just had a heck of a windstorm and rainstorm up here overnight. We had, because I've got property, I've got some broken branches to deal with and whatnot. So that was kind of wild last night, but we didn't lose power. That was good. You know,
Yeah, that's always a win.
as you mentioned, I have started writing for the Green Egg magazine again. I will be contributing articles to the quarterly magazine and to the blog.
Yay, that makes this editor very happy. I'm
I'm
just
only
writing green egg link on my on my little notepad here. So I'm thrilled to see that. Now you've also done some writing for Witches and Pagans, which I think it was John Drum said that's no longer in existence.
right. Yeah, it's very, very sad. I've been in communication with Ann Newkirk Niven. Um, Gee, it's been probably over a year since I talked to her, though.
Mm.
Um, and the cost of the production has been coming out of her pocket each time,
Oh, sure.
and so this was, oh my gosh, 3 years ago, maybe longer, that there was an interview. I was interviewed by my good pal Phaedra Bonowitz, which made it quite an interesting little article. But you might be able to find that in the archives.
True. Yeah, that's a good read.
Yeah.
And Phaedra, for those of you who do not know, is what we affectionately term a pistol.
Ah, that's an understatement.
She's a character. I think she's just wonderful.
Well, we'll
And
wait for that interview.
she is feisty. And that's always refreshing to see. That's what they call strong women, isn't it? They'd say those cute little terms like, oh, she's a pistol or she's just a pill. And I
That's
guess
correct. Yeah.
you wouldn't say that about a man, would you?
I don't think so.
I don't think you would. No. So we had our previous 8 questions, which you just aced and gave all the best answers ever. And so we're going to go into not only the next 8 questions, and this, folks, is the debut of the next 8 questions.
Mhm.
This is the first time, the maiden voyage of the next 8 questions. So we'll see how this goes. Now, I'll tell you straight up, my son, when he looked over this list, because he's going to be redoing too, he said 2 things for me. Number one, he said, did you notice, Mom, there are not very many metaphysical questions on here. These are more get to know you questions. And I said, well, that's all right. I'm interviewing metaphysical people, but that's okay. It'll come up. It always comes up. And then he said, also, did you notice that number 6 and number 4 are the same question? I said, no, I did not. So I will fix that. And I put a metaphysical question in there. So because I changed question 8 after you did your interview, I'm going to give you the new question 8 too.
Okay.
Or what the 8th question, and not necessarily question 8. So you'll get it as question 9. So, what do you like best about where you live now?
Gods. Well, I grew up in this general area for one, and I'm fairly close to where I grew up. And I love that. This particular piece of property is an acre, but there's so much on this acre. You know, I have on one end of the acre, because it's a long and narrow acre. On near one end of the acre, I have a 20 by 20 building that has been like the pagan living room. And it's also the roommate's extra living room, and it's my sewing space because there's this great big counter that Mike had made, that's in there that's so perfect for sewing. It's just a dream, And then on the other end, the house is in the middle, it's manufactured. And then on the other end is a 20 by 30 garage, and a great
Wow.
big driveway. We also have uh, 5 grapevines, 9 plum trees, 2 apple trees, 2 peach trees. You get the point.
I get the point. That is impressive. Now, is that first building more of a common area for everybody to use?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Um,
lovely.
yeah, it is. And one of the housemates has a regular Sunday D&D game in there with their friends. He's 23, and they all, oh my God, he's got somewhere cool to hang out that nobody bugs us. And, there's
Nice.
no parent reading over our shoulder or whatever. And so, it's a Kool-Aid mom place kind of, which I absolutely adore. I love that, being the cool
Yeah.
auntie,
The
so
cool Kool-Aid mom.
yeah. And I've known this kid since he was 7. He's
Wow.
he's my best friend's kiddo, and he was in a bad spot, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna let you out on the streets, so get your ass over here.
No, Eric and I spent when we got married, I already had several kids. We had 2 sons of our own, and we spent a lot of time when we were raising the kids. We would always make sure we had what we called a meditation area or a separate place where we could just go and just be sacred without kids everywhere and without having to worry about what housework needed to be done or anything. And we always made sure that that was the case, and the value of that is incredible.
It
It's
is.
Yeah.
Having a safe space is just beyond measure to many of us. I mean, I would say all of us, whether we realize it or not, and when you live in a small space and you can't get away and you don't have your own
Mhm.
little space, you begin to tell. It begins to show.
The fraying begins.
It's like he's breathing on me.
Don't touch it. Our house is big enough now that and it's just the 2 of us, that pretty much the whole house is now the meditation area, and we have enough room that we can kind of distance from each other. So we haven't needed it since we moved here. So that's been kind of cool. But yeah, that was such a lifesaver. So I'm a big advocate for that. So what is your favorite meal?
Steak and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Minus the gravy, that is mine too. I absolutely. So here's the question though: how do you cook your steak? Like not the technique, but the doneness.
As rare as possible.
I'm a medium rare person, so I now Eric is a medium well person,
That was Mike.
and I look at it and think, what did you just do to that poor steak?
I used to tease Mike, you like everything overcooked.
Oh my gosh!
You
So
like everything raw.
even now, I do not care for raw hamburger. That's
Mm,
but if my burger has a little bit of pink in it, just like medium, it just
that's
adds that extra juicy to it. It's so nice.
yeah.
So I think my favorite cuts, let's get real specific because steak is important. My favorite cuts are filet mignon and sirloin. just plain old sirloin. Those are my two favorites.
Give me a good old fashioned T-bone. I can gnaw that bone to pieces, man.
Interestingly enough, I see it everywhere. I'm not a big fan of tri-tip.
Yeah.
If it's there, I'm not going to say no to it, turn up my nose or anything, but it's not my favorite. Sirloin, filet mignon. Those are my favorites. So yeah, and mashed potatoes, garlic or no garlic in them?
Either.
Fair. Just got to have enough butter in them is all. I'm also a fan of baked potato, and in fact, my favorite is probably baked potato that you then scoop out and mash. So you make your
Rice baked.
well, I don't bake them the second time. I just scoop out the innards and put them in a bowl and smash it up and put the milk in and the butter in and everything. And another one that I'm a real big fan of is cooking the potatoes in meat broth, like a chicken broth or a beef broth, and then mashing them. Oh my gosh, so good.
That's the best.
Good stuff, man.
My grandma used to do that with bone broth.
So nice. So what's your dream time like?
Not what I would like it to be. So there's a story. No, there's a story to that. All my entire life, up until 2018, had been a prolific dreamer and astral traveler. And I mean prolific. There were and lucid. There were times I would lucid dream for 3 weeks at a time, and I would have to say, that's enough. I'm taking something for sleep. I'm just, toast. And then in 2018, I had a car accident and had ended up with a traumatic brain injury. And it was like I had been lobotomized. All my psychic skills and my dreams, everything I identified with personally, were gone.
Wow.
And it was a huge trauma and shock to me to miss those parts of me so horribly. I just almost didn't know how to act. Thankfully Mike got me through that, and Phaedra was the one. And she saw that I was kind of ungrounded, let's say. And so she actually got me started on tarot trances, where you focus on the card and you go into a trance. We're not talking about a meditation. We're talking about some kind of an awake astral travel. It's about the only words I can use to describe it without using the same words to describe the same thing. But that started things going and healing and whatnot. But I still I'm dreaming, but I'm not really astral traveling like I was, and I'm still not doing the same amount of dream work and stuff that I write about that I used to. It's sort of coming back a little bit. But what a lot of this has taught me is that diet, sleep, hormones, nutrients in your body, injuries, all those things can affect your dream and astral travel life. And all of mine have been wonky ever since 2018, and I've been struggling to get it back. And I may never get it fully back. But
I was going to ask, do you think it's stabilized, or do you think you're still on the path to getting better?
When it comes to the brain barrier and the trauma to a brain barrier, the brain takes its own time to heal and its own ways to heal. It's that's all I can say. I'm not giving up. I still do meditations and trances and watch different things before I go to bed to induce dreaming, and other things like that, habits that I've gotten into to entice that. And so some of it leaks through on occasion, and I can't say for sure if I'll ever get it back.
Sure. There was a supplement. Let me look. You might even know what it is already. that a friend of mine took for lucid dreaming, and it just slammed her hard. She got intense lucid dreams. And it is, let me find it. I know it'll come up. Galantamine.
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 I will have to explore that.
It sent her for a loop. She loved it. And she said, I can only do it maybe once a week or so at the most.
It
Because
can be intense. And lucid dreaming all
Mhm.
the time can be very, very intense. Like I said, 3 weeks at a time. And it's like, I'm on borderline going insane. This is a human vessel here. You all need to stop.
So I guess it works by suppressing the regulation of a word that starts with ACE. It's a neurotransmitter. It's acetylcholine or something like that.
Oh,
Acetylcholine.
I
And
imagine that would, you would have to look at contraindications of any medicines that
you
you're taking.
would, for sure. So if you're taking any sort of like serotonin uptake inhibitors or anything like that, you'd probably want to clear that with your doctor. But it does look, I mean, she had amazing results. I have not tried it yet. Now, I'm also the person that I've never tried a therapeutic dose of psilocybin. I know you have. I know you. I knew that. I didn't even have to ask. But I've microdosed and got clarity, and it was really effective for that. But I've never done the biggie, and so Eric has. I have not. So that's something that's on my bucket list.
You know, the interesting thing about acid and psilocybins is it's actually a mild strychnine poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of strychnine in them. And so that's in chemicals, that's actually what that is, you know. But, and that's using something dangerous in a constructive way,
Sure.
you
So
know.
in light of YouTube's guidelines and recommendations, I would like to say that Kat and I in no way encourage the use of hallucinogenic mushrooms. It's very, very bad. You must not do this. Okay.
Yes, and nor do we suggest taking other supplements without checking with your doctor.
You should definitely check with the USDA and our Secretary of Health before you take any supplements at all. And especially not psilocybin. So that is not part of the favorite meal conversation. That is about the dream time conversation. So what animal, now you actually sparked on this question. What animal do you most relate to and they could be different ones, you enjoy the most? Now I just saw a kitty come up and say hi a few minutes ago.
That was Loki. I have twin brother and sister, Loki and Luna, little black cats. I
Which one
enjoy.
is in the box on your banner?
Oh, that's Loki. He's the
Yeah, I
box
thought so.
king. Every box that comes in the house belongs to him. Um, and it's like you give a kid a toy and they play with the box. That's Loki, you know. And Luna's all claws, but she's really sweet, super lovey. But she's got to do it with claws, you know. And my little peanut dog has got the same markings as your dog.
Oh, it's
She's much
Brucey. Yeah.
smaller. She's only about 7 or 8 pounds.
Mm.
Little Chihuahua. I enjoyed them immensely. Now, as to what animal I, let's say, might identify as, is a blue healer. Very hardworking, very energetic, very loyal and dedicated. And your chances of getting nipped are 50-50.
That's fair. So, do you have what you would consider? What is your take on spirit animals?
I have interacted with a lot of animals in my spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not pretend to know what the Native American construct and all of that other stuff is, or the shamanic part of that is. So I can only speak like from my own experiences.
Mhm.
And as I have had different animals come and go in my experience, I don't think I have any one
Mhm.
that is like representative of mine, of me,
Mhm.
per se. Um, because I've interacted with so many, they've come and helped me spiritually. There's been a white dog, there's been a lioness, there's been a hawk, a wolf, bear. I mean, just a wide variety, even a scorpion.
Mhm.
Um, but my take on it is I believe it's possible.
Mhm.
You know, um, I just haven't had that experience personally to
So,
have just one that represents me.
do you have any animals you're uncomfortable around as just in general?
Snakes.
Isn't that me too? And my kids love them. Their friends love them, and I can't do it. I put legs on them and turn them into a gecko, and I love them.
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable.
But I don't know what it is. It's so uncomfortable to me.
Well, I have kind of a story and a reason. So, when I was 3 years old, my family built the house out in Sam's Valley, not far from here. And I'm outside playing, and this large bird dropped a rattlesnake on the back porch between the house and where I was out playing.
Mm.
And my mom saw it and started screaming. My dad had just pulled in the driveway. I'm 3 years old, mind you. I know nothing about snakes up to this
Sure.
point. And my dad reaches out and grabs a pitchfork and starts to kill it, and it wraps up his freaking leg.
Woo!
He had the head pinned down, mind you, but I'm 3. This is not how I am perceiving this. This darn
Of
thing is
course.
going to get my daddy,
Ooh.
and it wrapped up around his leg, and I'm screaming my freaking face off. And so that was when I got my first education about rattlesnakes, because this is rattlesnake country.
Yes.
And I've had
You're too.
oodles of close encounters since then. So I feel pretty justified in being afraid of snakes.
When I was growing up in Kentucky, we had copperheads, and this is the only snake I have ever encountered that will chase you.
Whoa.
And they will come at you. And that was terrifying for me as a kid. But when I was around, now see, it was my brother. He was probably 4 at the time. So I would say I was 10. I was 9 or 10. I'm trying to avoid a complicated conversation here, but you know how you have kids with sandboxes and they got that nice white
Yeah.
fine sand. Well, my daddy built us a sandbox, but he said, well, we can make this cheaper. So he went down to the river and he got a truckload of river sand and dumped it in our sandbox. And I'll tell you what, I think in all the years we had that, I don't think it ever got dry. I think it was always damp. But my brother and I were out there playing, and like I said, he was around 4 and I was maybe, 10. It was one of those things of mom saying, go outside and play, you kids. You watch your brother. And then, they lock the screen door and you're not supposed to come back till the sun goes down. So we were playing in the sandbox and he wanted to bury me. And I thought, okay, so he works his little young ass off to dig this hole in this big, deep sandbox. I crawl into it. He pushes all the sand on me. I could not move. I was paralyzed. And he reaches over and he picks up this little baby snake and he held it over my mouth.
Oh my God.
If you yell for mom, I'm going to drop it in. And right there in that moment, I knew I hated that little bastard. We still don't talk. We don't get along. We never have gotten along very well. And I don't know. I think I was already afraid of snakes, and that just
And
exacerbated it.
I cannot imagine that'd be so terrifying.
I have nightmares about that still. I'm 63 years old, 64 years old. You know,
Gee, well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't forgive him either.
but I mean, there's people in my group that are just one of them, male. She has got over 100 snakes in her house. I mean, it's her love. She adores snakes, and a lot of people really do, and I envy them. And I don't know, maybe I can do some EFT or something and tap my ass out of it, but I haven't been able to at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Now Eric goes rock climbing, and I mean climbs these giant cliffs and everything. And every now and then, they'll pop up on a ledge and there's a rattlesnake there just kind of doing that. And
Yeah,
no, thank you.
right.
When he was mining, when he was a gold miner, they used to see him a lot too. He's had an
Yep.
interesting life.
Pass.
So this one is really good for people that are of a certain age, as you and I may be. What's the best job and the worst job you ever had?
Well, this might kind of surprise you. I was a mink skinner.
When you said this might surprise you, I thought, no, you won't. Good. So were they alive when you skinned them?
No.
Okay.
That part was taken care of. It was a mink farm over on the Oregon coast. It's no longer there. And it was seasonal work. And
Hold on. Is this your best job or your worst job?
it's both.
Oh, okay.
It's
All
really
right.
both.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's
All
really
right.
both. And they would bring us the pelts. And the pelts had to be put through a skinning process to get all the fats and everything off of the pelt before it could go into the dryer. And let me tell you, they are odoriferous.
So they didn't bring you the animal.
No.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I had to skin the inner coat, and that was my job. And then it would go to the dryer and get processed, yada, yada, yada. But while it was good money, when you're living in a little town of maybe 300 full-time people, any kind of part-time job you can get seasonally is, you do that. So it's almost a community thing, which was how it was my best job, in that all my friends were sort of there and were perverse enough. We would have fat fights. Some of that fat would come off, you lob it at the other person or whatever.
Like you do, sure.
And then we were rather odoriferous ourselves by the end of the day, And a lot of us gals would go in and bust in on the game at the local tavern, and we'd sit down at the favorite little captain's chair sort of thing that most of the guys like to sit at to watch the game, and we'd plop ourselves down. We'd clear the bar.
So you weren't stopping in for some Irish Spring in between then.
No.
All right. Well, I think you might be the first person to answer this question on Katrina Rasbold and Friends, but I think you're going to ace that prize there for the best answer. So this one, I know we're going to have a long answer on this. Have you ever seen a ghost? And if so, what happened?
I see a ghost every single day. My husband is still around this house. I see my mother and my son all the time. And, because death is just a different relationship. We mourn them physically, but they're still there, if they choose to be. And so maybe I should say, when was the first time I saw a ghost?
Whatever you like.
So I'm renting this little apartment that was a garage turned into a little apartment, 1 bedroom, bathroom, little kitchen, living room. And I believed in ghosts prior to this, mind you. And it was furnished, and it had a swivel rocking chair, one of the old ones. And the next thing I know, I see this rocking chair start moving, and it turned and it faced me, rocked two, three more times, and then stopped. And I was like, oh, hello, you know. So I named the ghost Ashley Roachcliffe. I was still fairly young. But Ashley um, was kind of a party trick because Ashley, it was a male ghost, and Ashley would do things like slam the door, shake the light, or move the rocking chair if I sort of invoked him to do that, and it was trippy.
Interesting. I love that story. That's a good one. So, was Ashley confined to that location?
Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
some are and some aren't.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you have, this goes back to our relatable animals. Do you have animal ghosts where you are?
No, but I did in my last house. Mike
We
and
have,
I both saw it.
we have so many ghost cats here, and they'll get up on the bed, they'll make biscuits and settle in, and I'll think it's one of our cats, and then look up and the door's closed. Turn on the light, door's closed. There's no cat on the bed
Right,
that you can see.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So, what music, and now this can be a type of music or specific songs, would you say it was the soundtrack of your past? What is it that you think of and just wax nostalgic?
Witchy Woman.
Eagles.
That was my jam. That was my motto. That was my life.
That's
Although
great.
looking back on it in retrospect, it should have been hell on wheels.
That's wonderful. So there was, I'm trying to remember, there was, I remember that my first husband was, he was quite young. He was probably in his 30s. And I asked him, if you could pick a song to be our song, what would it be? And he said, probably Sammy Hagar, Dick in the Dirt. And I thought, what, what is that supposed to mean?
How do
All
I
right.
do
What you
that?
trying to say, hon? Yeah. So I made sure that Eric picked a good one right out the gate.
There you go.
So, and I can't believe it. We're already at our last question.
Wow.
But you have to give me a why for this one. You got to elaborate.
Okay.
Plane, train, bus, car, or boat.
Hmm.
And you can even do it in order of if you want to. It's up to you.
Any of the above, except I currently refuse to fly.
Interesting.
I refused to fly when TSA got out of hand.
Hmm.
In my opinion, got out of hand and got way too invasive. And I've been on a plane. I absolutely love flying. It's cool. I don't much enjoy the airports and all that.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody does. Um, but driving is my favorite. Right there. I haven't yet really been on a long range train ride. I've been on short train rides. So I haven't done the sleeper car or anything like that. It's kind of, well, we talked once about bucket lists. That might be
Yeah.
something that would be on my bucket list, that and a boat. Because while I've been on boats, it's been short rides and ferries. I absolutely love those. So I think I would probably like a longer, ride. But crowds are kind of tough for me though, being an empath and being ADHD and stuff like that. It's so give me that car. I'll drive.
I've not been on a cruise or anything like that. I get really sick. And I'm surprised by how sick I still get. I used to get air sick and I don't now. So that part got managed. I get car sick if I'm in the back seat. If I'm up front, I'm usually okay. I get car sick if I read in the car. And I mean, if I look down at my phone and read a text, I'll get sick. But I think it's the Meniere's, in retrospect. I
Right.
think
I'm
it's the
sure it
Meniere's.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. But on a boat, holy God. I mean, we'll still be anchored and I'll be on the deck
I
purple
get
and
a little
sweating and
woozy on boats, but not bad.
whew.
Of course, the
And
boats I get woozy on are those smaller fishing boats that those good old boys are out there bouncing, in the
yeah,
waves and shit. And it's like, dude.
I've been on several ferries, and I mean the big ferries that have like a town on the top deck,
Right. Yeah.
and they still make me sick. Even though you barely feel them move, I'll still get sick as hell. And I don't like that. Now, the other side of that, which is interesting, and I bet we could pull together a good conversation about this at some point, is that I have a fear of water.
Oh, well, there you
I
are.
cannot swim. When you're young, you've got every boyfriend is like, "Oh, I'll teach you to swim." Like, good luck, buddy. And they end up giving up. I just have never been able to swim. And so I have that fear of drowning. And I'm wondering if the boat thing is also a fear of drowning.
I'm sure it is, and getting metaphysical, we could tie that back probably to one of your past lives where you probably died by water of some sort.
Mm. Drowned as a witch, right?
Right?
No doubt. So the last question, so that's our last of the 8, but you didn't get to answer this question on your previous interview. So we'll end with this one. If you could go back in time and talk to your past self with the understanding that you've got full knowledge that you've got now, and that your past self would at least listen to you. They might not do what you ask, but they will listen to you, or what you suggest. They'll listen. What would you go back to, and what would you say?
I would probably go back to my 16, 18-year-old self and say, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Everything is temporary, especially when it doesn't feel like it.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, because if I look in retrospect at my life, you're going through stuff you get this tunnel vision,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't exactly know how you're going to, because divination works better for other people than it ever does for you if you're doing it yourself. And you get glimpses, and you get answers on occasion, but you don't get the full picture. And so that's all is that moment, that wonderful or terrifying moment, whatever it happens to be, or anywhere in between. And if I had known things were temporary as I was going through them, it would have saved me years of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
you know, it would have saved me so much anxiety and stress. And I tell my students that a lot, and I tell everybody else I can tell that, calm down. It's temporary, because everything in the cosmos is temporary.
Hmm.
They're always moving, they're always shifting, they're always changing. There are some constants, but they're still always moving and changing. You know, and so it's temporary. Take a breath. Now, am I perfect at that? Hell no. Being in Aries, no way. but I'm better at it now that I'm older.
Well, and what the flip side of that people don't think about, they apply that to the difficult times, but when you're happy, it's temporary.
That's right.
And people think that when you're an actualized magical person, you're always peaceful, you're always happy, and life still happens. If you aren't living a human life with that actualization, you aren't really actualized.
Right.
And so you have to be engaged with the world, which means there's all these variables, which means there will be things that make you angry. There are going to be things that make you happy and sad and all the emotions.
And that's a precept that the Buddhists go on when they talk about causing your own suffering, because you get attached to that being happy and expect that it's not going to change. This is it forever, and that expectation is what causes our disappointment and depression and other such things, those attachments and things of that nature. That's where that comes from.
The way that you respond to and process those feelings, that's what tells you how actualized you are or
Yeah.
are. It's really easy to be zen and, sacred in the good times. But you really show who you are in challenging times. And I see people that just, I've reached this state of enlightenment so that I'm always happy. I'm like, bitch, this ain't Zion. You're going to be, your time's come. You're courting disaster here.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's going to hit them so hard out of the blue.
Pardon?
It's going to hit them so hard out of the blue because they don't think it's coming.
Get down. Right. Yeah. And I'm not perfect at it. I don't think anybody's ever perfect at it. That's kind of the other message I like to tell people is you're never going to be 100%, all the time in your enlightenment. We get caught talking about enlightenment, and this is why I parted from a particular teacher long ago. And it's like, that's what you're supposed to attain, and that's what you're supposed to maintain all the time. I'm like, BS. We are spiritual beings in a human body having an experience, and we have to embrace our humanity as much as we have to embrace our enlightenment. That's a job.
That is so true. And you've got to also be accountable for those feelings and self-audit. What triggers did this hit that made me respond in an exaggerated way, perhaps? Or is this just a normal thing that I'm taking very personally? And you've got to do the homework. That's what that shadow work is getting immersed in knowing yourself.
Yeah.
So that you have this intimate relationship. I'm not saying getting to the point of accepting every fault and that sort of thing. You'll always have things to work on.
Yeah.
But just understanding yourself and having compassion for yourself, but doing the work to work through so that next time maybe you respond a little bit differently.
Right. And I kind of want to add to that about knowing you. I go on and on at length about knowing yourself in my book, and it's a vast subject. But there is this caveat. Just because you know this thing about yourself, like I'm ADHD, does not mean it will not get away from you, even though you've gone in and you've done shadow work on it, and you are a lot of things around that. For example, you have changed and you manage better. There are still going to be things that get away from you, even though you know that you're bossy or you're, overly happy, or whatever it might be, anywhere in between, prone to depression or any of those things. You can know that thing about yourself, and you can see it clearly like you would see another person, but it does not mean it won't get away from you on occasion.
You bet.
As the trick is recognizing it when it does, and then grabbing it and managing it. That's the trick.
So I'd like to point out that Kat's book matches her outfit today.
Oh.
So this is the book. Now, was there a follow-up? I'm trying to remember. Now, I thought that I don't know why I had it in my head that there was,
But I do want to talk to you about that.
please do.
Okay.
Oh, you mean just talk to me?
Yes.
Or do you mean talk here?
No.
Okay, we'll talk. I'll let you know what she says. So, so this is the book, folks. Is it backwards for you or is it mirrored?
No, I see it right.
Good.
Yeah,
That's all that matters.
I'll help out.
That's even better. To me, it's backwards.
Oh, see, okay.
There it is. And now look, do you see all those little? Drop it down just a tiny bit. Let me see that little top. So do y'all see all those little bookmarks in there? That's what my copy looks like. I got shit all written out in the margins and all kind of stuff.
So do I. So do I.
So when you started writing that book, it was going to be, if I remember correctly, a high priestess's grimoire, basically. Is that right?
Yeah, it was originally called Notes of a Priestess, and it was going to include my personal life journey, about being a hereditary witch and some other things like that. And it changed, but they do. They
do
sort of become that thing of their own, and I love the way it turned out.
I do too, but I would still like to read that first book.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll talk.
All right, then. That sounds real good. Well, Kat, thank you so much for being back with me again today and for launching our second phase of our interviews. I hope and I trust that everybody else that goes through it will be almost as entertaining as you were today. Do you have anything to add before we finish up?
Check out the Green Egg magazine and blog.
Green Egg magazine. So that comes out every solstice, every equinox. You're usually going to find articles in there from Kat. You're going to find articles from me. And if you, that's right, you are an aspiring journalist and would like to submit, just send them straight to me. I'll be your in, and I'll make sure that they get the best representation they can get. Because we love to hear from you. We're not going to pay you. You need to be real comfortable with that.
Right. I do not make a lot of money.
We'll give you some flash in probably, I'm going to guess, the oldest pagan periodical in existence.
Yeah, easily, because it was started in 1964, honey.
So, and see, I was trying to think. I was thinking about the magical almanacs, and they were after that. The Witch's Almanac was after that. Sage Woman was after that. Trying to think of all the magazines I used to see in print that I would always grab.
That's all after.
It's all after Oberon and Green Egg. So if you want to be inside a little piece of pagan and witchcraft history, hook me up. I'm your editor. Come see me. I'll take care of it. Thanks for being here, Kat, and thanks for being here, everybody, to tune in and again watch a couple of old crones dance together and talk about it. So we'll see you next time, and I'll come up with 8 more questions so we can get Kat back again.
All
Y'all
right.
take care now.
Everybody.